So, Jerry, you developed a business plan early on, right?
I actually didn't, but at a certain point, uh, I did develop one with the SBDC as far as moving forward.
Okay.
So we did spend a fair amount of time coming up with a business plan.
Okay. And tell me about that planning process. What kind of information did you have to gather?
It was essentially taking all of the data that I had already gathered over the years at that point, and then trying to extrapolate that forward to see what was possible, to see what I could afford in terms of expanding, and what I could take on for as far as higher rent, et cetera, et cetera. So that was the idea: was take what you have and
Mm,
try to imagine what that looks like going forward.
yeah. And tell me a little bit about the stages your business went through. I know you said you started in your home, and then how things go from there.
Well, literally in the beginning, I I built the first bike and I sold it and turned that money back into two more bikes and so on and so on. And it really truly, that's how it grew, was slowly, organically. And I just, because I was still on disability, that was taking care of my personal needs, and I could afford to just reinvest all the monies that I made, which was not very much clearly in the first handful of years, but I kept turning that back into the business so that it was able to grow and grow. And eventually I moved out of the living room into a very small space across town, and then maybe 5 years after that I moved into this space, which is, well, it's 5 times the size of where that of this second space I was in. And so it's just kept growing, you know organically and conservatively, which has been real important to me. Because what I do want to talk about is there were many points along the way where I thought something would come up and I would think, boy, I really need to do this, and now it's finally time to go to the bank and borrow some money so that I could do this. And then the voice in my head that said, no, maybe you don't need to do that. Think about it. And I didn't do that. And sure enough, every one of those instances, maybe 6 months down the road, I was able to look back and go, wow, I am so glad I didn't borrow money to buy all of those widgets that would still be sitting on the shelf if I had done that. So it's really served me well to be really conservative in my expansion. And if I can't afford to do it, it's probably not time to do it. That's been really my strategy in terms of expansion and um, you know getting external sources of income.